Boris Johnson has been branded irresponsible by an Austrian MEP over a lack of willingness to negotiate with the European Union in post-Brexit trade talks, who has also furiously accused the Conservative Party of using grotesque tactics. Negotiations on the future relationship between London and Brussels following the Brexit transition period, which is set to end on December 31, have been ongoing for almost 6 months, but without little success. The UK and European Union negotiating teams have blamed each other for this, with both sides refusing to move on a series of red lines, most notably fisheries, state aid and the EU's level playing field. The 8th round of talks starts in London this week, and with Michel Barnier setting a strict deadline of October 31 to agree a deal, fears are quickly intensifying over a no-deal Brexit outcome. But ahead of the latest meetings, Boris Johnson has infuriated senior EU officials amid reports the government will table new legislation, which threatens to override key elements of the withdrawal agreement. The Prime Minister's spokesman said the government is proposing limited clarifications to the law to ensure ministers can preserve the gains of the Good Friday Agreement in the event of no-deal outcome between the two sides. Mr. Johnson has also piled further pressure onto the EU by insisting there needs to be an agreement in place by October 15 for it to be fully implemented before the end of the transition period. Austrian MEP Andreas Schieder, who is acting leader of the Social Democratic Party in the National Council, has launched a scathing attack against Mr. Johnson and the negotiating tactics employed by his government in current trade talks with the EU. He told Austrian new website OTS, instead of finally showing an honest willingness to negotiate, Prime Minister Johnson continues to play his irresponsible game. The negotiation of the Tories is just grotesque. The future relationship between the EU and Great Britain does not need threatening gestures, but a deal based on the exit agreement. Mr. Schieder acknowledged Britain's departure from the EU is a sad story and has backed attempts from Mr. Barnier to campaign for the rights of citizens on both sides in talks.